This is fun for me? You think I'm having fun?
It certainly wasn't much fun defending your action in Tokyo. Do you have eyes on the target?
Is it her?
I can't tell from these photos. I need better shots.
Yeah, no, we're...
Just don't lose her this time.
Thank you for applying to HDMI.
You're waiting for someone?
No, just looking.
Good afternoon and welcome to the beautiful Malahide Cricket Club in North County Dublin. This is Game 5 of the GS Holding T20I Tri-Series, and today it's Scotland against the Netherlands. We have yet another glorious day. You can see the groundsman Philip Frost just doing his final preparations. We're about 12 minutes away from the 1:30 p.m. start time. Andrew Leonard here bringing you these pictures with Cricket Ireland TV and HBV Studios, as we have been all week. And you might have seen on the Cricket Ireland Twitter this morning, record numbers of you have been joining us. So we thank you. More than 3 million eyeballs so far this week. We thank you for all your support and look forward to having you for the conclusion of this series. And what a conclusion it's lining up to be. All three countries can still take the title this week. And a little while earlier, we had John Kenny, who was out with the two captains, Peter Seelar and Kyle Coates for the toss. Let's find out what happened.
This is match 5 in the GS Holding T20I Tri-Series, and what a glorious day and what a glorious week we've had. One match abandoned at the start of the week, but the rest of the week has been absolutely fantastic. And we're into the penultimate game. It's the Netherlands against Scotland. Jerry Pienaar is with us, the match referee, and our two captains, Kyle Kurtzer of Scotland and Peter Seelar of the Netherlands. Kyle, you have the coin. Tails is the call.
And a tail it is.
And a tail it is. So the Dutch have won the toss, and the decision, Peter?
We're going to have a bet first.
You're going to have a bat first. Based on what?
Just I think on a fresh wicket and what we've seen so far, I think it's very nice to go out and bet and put them under pressure with a good score on the board.
Sure. Disappointing first game against the Scots, but you certainly turned it around yesterday. You must have been pleased.
Very pleased, yeah. Obviously, if you look back 2 days ago, I think we weren't quite at our best, but I also think Scotland produced something very special. And, well, it's up to us today to rectify that. And I think yesterday, yeah, like you said, we had a much improved performance, and we're looking to do it back-to-back again.
Okay. You've got 3 changes, I believe, today.
Yeah, young Philippe Boissevaire is out. Clayton Floyd comes back into the side. Shane Snyder is out. Paul Vermaker comes back in. And 16-year-old Vikram Singh is going to make his debut. He's coming in for Tony Staal.
Okay, looking forward to seeing Vikram today. Well done. Thanks very much. So, the Dutch have won the toss. Would you have batted, Kyle?
Actually, we would have had a ball this morning.
Okay, so you're happy enough then?
Yeah, look, we would have been happy either way, to be fair. But what we've come to realise about this ground is the ball's going everywhere. It's going for 4, going for 6. Fast-scoring ground, slightly on the small side, so we know that any score is chaseable. So actually setting a score is actually can be quite tough because you don't know where to stop or where it's going to be. So we felt chasing was probably going to be the best option today.
Sure. A couple of changes for you, I believe.
Yeah, we have Safian Sharif sitting out and Adrian Neil coming in. Mark Watt is also sitting out, and Tom Sole is coming.
Okay, well, best of luck today. That's Kyle Kurtzer. He's the Scottish captain. So the news from the middle here is that the Netherlands have won the toss and they will have a bat.
And please remain upstanding for Flower of Scotland.
There's the 2 national anthems. The Netherlands one followed by Flower of Scotland, sung out proudly by the Scottish contingent. And before that, we heard the news from the toss that the Dutch captain, Peter Seelar, he won the toss and decided to have a bat first. Before we look at the teams, let's take a look at the points table, because this GS Holding T20 International Series is very interestingly poised. Ireland and the Netherlands tied on 6 points apiece, separated only by net run rate for the moment. The Ireland well in advance of the Dutch. So what the Dutch will have to do is win today and perhaps hope that Scotland can beat Ireland tomorrow, or maybe they can take their net run rate past Ireland. But all three teams can still take this tri-series. Really good preparation. We have a great cricket all week. And with another beautiful day here in Malahide, no doubt set for another high score. I've got John Kenny to my left, and you were out with the two captains a little while ago, John. A couple of changes to this Dutch playing 11. 3 ones, in fact. Philippe Boissevin, the young leg spinner, out of the team. Toli Stahl out of the team. And Shane Snyder's gone back to Essex.
He is. That's what they said from the middle. In fact, both were in win-win at the toss. Scotland said they would have preferred to bowl anyway, so they're happy enough. So everybody happy. Coming after that toss with the Netherlands and Peter Seeler, as you mentioned, they're winning the toss and deciding to bat. It's the second game between these teams this week. Scotland really ran riots in the previous game. We know Muncie scored 127. Wonderful knock that day. Beat Netherlands by 58 runs. And they really put things together against Ireland yesterday. Very controlled reply. Ireland didn't quite get to the desired target in the end. We're 19, 20 runs short, looking for plus 200 plus. But I must say the Netherlands really controlled the game right throughout. And I suppose it was right and proper that Ben Cooper scored the winning runs. This was the best innings yesterday of 91 with that big six of George Dockrell to end the innings. So it's nice to set up. You saw the table early on, and this is the Dutch team today.
Yeah, the 3 men coming into the Dutch side. Clayton Floyd for just his second start of the week. Paul van Meekeren coming back into the team. And a debutant. That's young Vikramjit Singh. What a special day it is for him. 2 changes for the Scots. Let's take a look at their side today. I think they're really just rotating, John, aren't they? So Mark Watt, the left-arm spinner, going out of the team, and Safian Sharif going out of the team. Back in come the 6'9" Adrian Neil and Tom Sole to bowl his off breaks for the first time this week.
Yeah, 23-year-olds from Northamptonshire. Just 1 T20, so it means from the Netherlands and Scotland's point of view, every one of their squad will have played at least once in this T20I Tri-Nation Series, which is good to see. This is the Scots team or squad that will play in the World T20 qualifiers next month, all bar Josh Davey, who's not featuring in the series. He'll join the squad next month, so everybody gets a chance to play. The Netherlands, I think it's just from their point of view, they're more experimental. A lot of them, of course, will be there, but they're missing some of their key players. Tendo Scotty, I suppose, is the outstanding name from that particular list, but they're using this really as to bring younger and new players through, especially Vikram Singh. Only 16, splendid form for the under-19 side of the recent World Cup, scoring 300-odd runs at 60, so I'm really looking forward to seeing him today.
And the one I'm really looking forward to seeing with the ball for the Dutch is Brandon Glover. He was outstanding yesterday, bowled the spell of the week. But we'll have to wait until this afternoon to see him, because it's going to be the Dutch opening the batting. And we will see that same familiar opening pairing of Tobias Vissay, who's had a really poor week. Yet to get off the mark. He'll be joined by Max O'Dowd, who batted well for his 50 yesterday. And I'm sure Ben Cooper will be at number 3. Glorious day again here in Malahide, John, isn't it?
Beautiful. We've been very lucky this week, all bar the first match, Ireland against the Netherlands, was Bannon without a ball being bowled, but the rest of the week has been terrific. In fact, the weather seems to have got better and better as the week unfolded. Hamza Tahir, the 23-year-old leg spinner, is going to be bowling from the Malahide Castle End. And a Dutch with their 2 openers, Tobias Vissay, looking for runs. Indeed, out for his ball yesterday in the match against Ireland to mark it there. And Max O'Dowd at the other end is about to get play underway in this penultimate game, match 5 of this GS Holding T20I Tri-Nation Series.
Yeah, poor old Tobias Vissay has not scored a run this week. 2 ducks, so it'll be nerves for him. He'll face the left arm off spin, left arm orthodox of Hamza Tahir, who will open the bowling from the Dublin Road end. In fact, from the Malahide Castle end, John.
Yep. Well, he survived the first ball. He'll be happy about that, having got out for a duck yesterday. First ball to mark it there. And it's a new pitch today. It's pitch 5, as they call it, cut on the square here in Malahide. Just 2 across from the Dublin Road end. If you're looking at it for the Dublin Road end, it's 2 across, pitch 7 to pitch 5. It just means as well that from where Fissé is batting to his left-hand side, the leg side, boundary much shorter. And anything, we're talking to the match referee before the game, Jerry Pienaar says anything that touches the branches of a 3, because it's overhanging the ground, will be declared a 6.
We might see some mighty blows out towards that tree. I had a look at the pitch this morning, John. Philip Frost, I think, has prepared another beauty. We'll have to wait and see how it plays.
Bit of a green tinge on it, and there's the first boundary of the morning. We had to wait for 3 deliveries, just rock back on his heels and cut that away. That will make him feel a whole lot better, as Andrew has been saying. He hasn't scored a run all week in his 2 previous games, but he's off the mark. Nice shot too.
The first runs of the week for Tobias Fissé, and I'd say he's breathing a heavy sigh of relief. A little bit of movement around the crease before the delivery was bowled, but it was short and wide, really cut away powerfully for all the way.
Another attempted cut shot.
A little bit flatter, a little bit quicker from Hamza Tahir, varying up his pace, not looking to turn the ball a huge amount with the new ball, just skidding on this fresh pitch.
Tahir played against Ireland earlier on this year in an A match down in Oak Hill. That's a lovely shot. Beats the infield. It's going to roll away on a very fast outfield again. It's been beautiful weather, as you mentioned, all week, so the ground quickening up all the time. And a couple of 4s in this over to take the Netherlands to 8 without loss.
That's the larger side of the ground, John, but you can see just how pristine a condition this outfield is in, because it not only looks beautiful, but it runs away and races away quickly. We've got a bit of a disparity, a much shorter boundary on the leg side for the right-handers from the camera view that you're seeing. And even though it's the larger side of the ground, that was 4 all the way.
A bit of a flatter delivery, but Fissé punches it down the ground. First 6 overs are the power play. That means that only 2 fielders can be outside the inner circle, and that's the end of the opening over. 1 down, and a good start for the Netherlands, and Fissé in particular. He's on 9. O'Dowd yet to score. In fact, Fissé nicked the strike at the end of that particular over, and the Dutch are 9 without loss.
Yeah, these 2 sides are both building up to the ICC T20 World Cup qualifiers that will be hosted next month in the UAE. And in fact, they'll be in the same group. Scotland and the Netherlands, they'll be joined by Papua New Guinea, Namibia, Singapore, Kenya and Bermuda. So a tough group for them. And only the winners of those groups will advance directly to Australia 2020, with the teams 2nd through 4th having to battle it out in the playoff stages. We had that tournament hosted in this very country 4 years ago. It's a really good tournament. There's going to be, I think, 27 games live on television, and see all these players pull off or show off all their skills on the global stage, John.
Yeah, Ireland just about squeaked through in that particular competition as well, and they will face Hong Kong. That'll be interesting. I know Hong Kong are in a little bit of turmoil, 1 or 2 of their players refusing to play, but that's been coached as this first ball of the afternoon is bowled by Kyle Kurtzer. It's not Kurtzer, my apologies.
Big Ali Evans.
It's Big Ali Evans, who's bowling from the Dublin Road end. But Trent Johnston is the new head coach of Hong Kong, and that'll be an interesting matchup, Ireland against Hong Kong.
Yeah, it's not the first time a former Irish international has been part of the opposition coaching staff. We saw John Mooney, the fielding coach for Afghanistan, as Afghanistan broke Irish hearts, the World Cup qualifier last year.
Good start from Evans. 2 balls right on the money.
Been impressed with the Scottish fielding this week, John. I think they've looked really sharp. Probably the best of the 3 fielding sides we've seen on offer, and this is what Ali Evans does. He tries to come in and hit the deck, not allow a batsman to free their arms.
2 for 20 and 1 for 21, Netherlands and Ireland respectively. That ball is in the air and it's sliced away. That's not exactly where he wanted to hit that, Fissé. And a bit of a fumble in the outfield from Tahir, and they run through for 2, but he certainly didn't mean that.
It's not exactly where he was looking to hit that one, John. It skews off the outside edge over the head of Richie Berrington at backward point. And Hamza Tahir just about gets around to cut off the boundary in front of that beautiful... What kind of a tree is that, John? An oak tree, perhaps?
Yeah, I'll go with you on that one.
Beautiful tree.
Beautiful tree, beautiful ground. It's been developed into the home of Irish cricket. Now, Malahide, most of the games over the years were played at Clontarf. In fact, some of the games this year in the Tri-Nation Series involving the West Indies and Bangladesh were played in Clontarf, but this is the home for the moment for Irish cricket. There are plans to move lock, stock and barrel up to Abbottstown, where they have their headquarters now. As a lot of the practice facilities are up there in the Sports Institute, but the ground will take a couple of years to develop. That's turned around the corner from Bissey. There's a man down there, and a very good arm he has too. Michael Leask, you mentioned about the Scottish fielding. He's the best fielder they have. Some great throws from the boundary he has. Very flat, generally over the top of the stumps.
Yeah, he's already affected one run out this week. Very dynamic in the field. Scotland, they look well drilled. They look athletic. Certainly been a cut above the two other sides, I'd say, so far this week. Although the Irish fielding definitely showing signs of getting back to where it once was. It's a youthful side they have here this week. Harry Tector, Lorcan Tucker, looking energetic in the field.
Might go through for a quick single here and easily through in the end. It's been a good opening over from the Dublin Road end from Ali Evans, the 30-year-old. In fact, that's the end of 2, 13 without loss. One extra in it, a leg by in the previous over to end that first over from Alistair Evans. And all the runs scored so far from Tobias Dissay. O'Dowd, who's batted extremely well here in this particular series, hasn't seen much of the strike. New Zealand born, 24 years of age. Highest score came against Ireland yesterday of 67. It should be a wide, yep.
Yeah, that experiment with spin, John, just lasting one over. And they bring in their big 6'9" quick Adrian Neil, who played in the opening match of the week for Scotland and did extract some good bounce. Definitely reminiscent of Ireland's Boyd Rankin. Comes in, hits the pitch hard, gets the ball to lift uncomfortably to the batsman.
That's nicely whipped around the corner by O'Dowd. There is a fielder down there. It's a lovely stop. Prevents the 4. And a good throw as well over the wicketkeeper's head. Picked up by Berrington, but that was a really good diving catch down there, or diving stop down there to prevent the 4 runs, and O'Dowd's off the mark.
Yeah, that's Thomas Sowell, who's come into the team today for his first appearance of a week, so he'll be wanting to show what he can do. We might see him bowl his off spin later on. One of 2 Sowell brothers who's played internationally for Scotland. His brother, though, I think has stepped away from the game for the moment. So Tom Sowell, really good work out at deep square leg.
The feature of this game all week has been this switching of left-right combinations throughout the game. These are 2 right-handers here out in the middle at the moment, and that's in the air, but that should be safe and going for bounce. 1 bounce for 4. Ollie Hares is the nearest fielder to that, but he can't cut it off. There's a real slash at that from Bissey, and it's gone for 4.
Yeah, he used his feet, came down the track, also went wide outside his own leg stump. Again, it wasn't in any way where he intended to hit the ball, John. Skews off the outside edge, and third man's quite wide. He's not far in front of our commentary position here, but it runs away fine of him to his left. Bissey gets a 1 bounce 4.
That's a much better shot. That's gone over the boundary, and our first maximum of the afternoon. And having had a streaky 4 before that, that was a much more profitable shot straight down the ground over the fielder's head, up and over extra cover, and score moves on to 25 without loss, and Bissey is shot along to 22.
What a shot that is, the shot of the day so far from Tobias Bissey. I talked him up prior to the first match. I said he's a little bit in the mould of George Munsey. He's ended up with 2 ducks. I've given him a bit of the curse, but he's firing so far today.
Should run for 4 as well. Can the fielder cut that off? No, he can't. And there is the captain, Kyle Kurtzer, watching that clip over his head. It's been an expensive over now so far. A couple of 4s and a 6 as well. And suddenly, having started well, the Scottish fielders are watching the ball being dispatched to all parts of the ground. 29 without loss now.
Really good stuff from Visay. The 2-card trick, he comes down and uses his feet, gives himself some room, pongos him over, long off for 6. Neil drags his length back. Visay rocks onto the back foot, pulls him away for 4 more. Visay starred, remember, in the GT20 out in Canada, the global T20 for the Vancouver Knights. He's showing why he's becoming a bit of a name around the T20 leagues himself.
Tries to do the scoop ramp, Spoonie, Dilshan, you name it. Didn't quite come off on that particular occasion, Visay. Yeah, he would have been playing for the Amsterdam Knights if the T20 Slam, the Euro T20 Slam, had gone ahead this year. There's still talk about that next year having been postponed for 2019. They haven't quite worked out the dates yet, but it certainly won't be in around August, September. It's going to be clashing with a lot of things like the 100. That should be a wide.
Yeah, Neil's not happy with that because he thinks that Visay's come down the track and he's seen him coming, he's dug it in, but it's clearly gone over the head height of the initial standing position of the batsman. So good umpiring between David McLean and Alan Neil, working in partnerships as good umpires should. Clearly signalled as a wide. But I think Philip Frost has produced another belting deck here. We could be in for yet another high-scoring game in this tri-series.
I was out there for the toss, just a tinge of green on it, but yeah, looks like a very good batting track. Good shot for no runs. Ends the 3rd, 30 without loss.
Let's take a look at the points table, John. If you're just joining us for the first time today from wherever you are around the world, you're very welcome. And that is the current standings in this GS Holding T20I series. Ireland on top, only due to net run rate, John. And the Dutch must win today to give themselves a chance of that title. Whatever happens, it will go all the way down to the final game, the clash of the Celts between Ireland and Scotland at 1:30 p.m. tomorrow.
Yeah, Scotland will move on to 8 points with a victory today. So I think Ireland would prefer if Scotland won today, really. So, as you say, wouldn't have to be relying on run rates. They'd be more concerned about winning the game and then taking this Tri-Nation series. It'd be great to win it, obviously, from all these teams' point of view, all these countries' point of view. But it's more importantly, they're looking to the future, aren't they? And that World T20 qualifiers.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been really impressed with the batting this week as well, John. I think some of the power hitting we've seen, perhaps the bowling a little bit disappointing. We've only seen really 2 or 3 standout spells in the week. We think about that outstanding 4 overs from Brandon Glover of quick yesterday as Richie Barrington comes into the attack here now.
That should be out. And O'Dowd knew it as soon as it left the bat. Tried to cut that away. Barrington's first ball yields a wicket. He's been the man who hasn't seen much of the ball in this opening 3 and a bit overs. All the hitting's been done by Visay. And O'Dowd is out. First wicket down, falls at 30 after 3.1 overs.
He's going to be absolutely disgusted with himself, Maxwell O'Dowd. Shades of Mark Adair's opening delivery yesterday. A real loosener from Barrington. A long hop outside the off stump. And all he could do was cut it away and find the man a cover. Barrington gets a gift. The first wicket falls for the Netherlands. And a really special moment now because coming to the crease on his Netherlands international debut is Vikram Singh. He's a prodigy of Peter Boren, the former Dutch captain at the VRA club in Amsterdam. And I know Peter Boren's been watching the stream all week. We've seen his tweets throughout. So Peter, we wish you the best there in Amsterdam watching. We know you'll be watching. It's a very proud moment. You think the world of this young batsman. Let's see what he can do on the international stage.
I couldn't string 2 words together when I was 16. Never mind bat at international level. 16 years of age. We mentioned splendid form for the Dutch under-19s at the recent World Cup Euro qualifiers. Over 300 runs in that series, an average of 60. And I mentioned to Peter Seeler when he announced that he was making his debut today that I was looking forward to seeing him. So let's see what he can do. There will be nerves, but O'Dowd has departed. And Singh is in his place. Facing his first ball in international cricket, and nicely defended.
Yeah, he's a really elegant stroke player, this young Vikram Singh. I actually played against him myself a couple of months ago on a Leprechauns tour of Amsterdam.
Did you get him out? You were trying to work that one out, weren't you? Did you get him out?
I think
in your
I think he might have been induced by a long hop or something to be pulled out to square, but he's a real talent. Hits the ball hard.
And it's nicely licked off his legs too. That's his first run in international cricket. That'll make him feel a whole lot better. Vikram Singh, and nicely placed too.
Yeah, and actually big round of applause from his Dutch teammates on the sideline. They know that that's his first run in international cricket. He's just 16 years of age. This young man, he had a really impressive ICC Europe under-19s qualifier, made 100 against France, 85 against Denmark, and a 58 against Scotland. So if he could replicate that 50 against Scotland again today, he'd be delighted with himself. Special moment for the young man. He's off the mark.
Well, you'll be pleased to know that outside of our ramblings, we'll have people who actually know what they're talking about coming into the commentary box a little bit later on. We'll have the two coaches. Shane Berger will be joining us, and Ryan John Campbell as well from the Netherlands throughout the afternoon.
Yeah, looking forward to hearing the thoughts of both of them and hearing the viewpoints of Scottish and Dutch cricket coming up.
That's nicely all the way into the offside behind square. Leask, he's going to take it on his arm. That's good running as well from the young man. Singh turned and immediately saw that the ball was heading toward Leask, who's the best fielder out there, no doubt. Took him on and got a couple.
The adventure of youth. He gets back comfortably. He's a fit young man, and you can see the way he's driven the ball there. He opens the face on that drive nicely, finds the gap, and gets back for a double.
Nicely placed again. Runs it down to third man. Or Adrian Neil will collect, and that will mean that he will keep the strike. And that's the end of the fourth over. 35 for 1. $33 for 1. Tobias Wiese, having had a couple of ducks in the lead up to this game on 26. Max Haddad, the man out for 1. And Vikram Singh, the 16-year-old, now at bat. And Neil to continue from the Malahide Road end, or Malahide Castle end. That's nicely guided. Down to third man again. He did something similar in the last ball of the previous over. He's not lacking in confidence, but that's what you should do when you're 16 years of age.
Adrian Neil welcomed him with a bit of chin music to start with, a short ball. I know you love your Twitter, John. Just want to read you one tweet from Peter Barron from a couple of weeks ago.
Oh yeah, did you spell my name right?
The former retired, now retired Dutch captain. He said, yesterday I played veterans hockey and the 16-year-old Vikram Singh was named in the Dutch cricket team for the first time. I'm jealous that he has it all in front of him. Just imagine what he could achieve. Go well, my young man.
Yeah, that's nice. He's a whole life and a whole career ahead of him. But this is the man scoring the runs. Tobias Wiese, a 28-year-old on 26. 36 for 1. He chases a wide one. A little quizzical look from the umpire at the far end, but it's a dot ball.
Yeah, good length from Neil. Right in the block hole, even though it was wide of the stumps. Tobias Wiese couldn't get anything to work with there. Loves to hit the ball down the ground powerfully. So good change up from Adrian Neil. Short ball followed up by the Yorker.
In the context of a T20 game, this is tight bowling from Scotland. Just the one maximum so far we've seen. A couple of fours from Wiese. He forces that into the offside to Leask. And one to the tally.
Good aggressive stuff from Adrian Neil here. Hits the block hole twice in a row. Good execution of his skills. Can imagine the bowling coaches this week have been tearing their hair out, John. It's been a real batter's paradise throughout the entire 4 matches we've seen so far.
Yeah, the feature of the World Cup we saw in England earlier this summer was the fact that there was no chasing 400s down. And it made for more exciting forms of cricket, but not the bowlers not being dominated by the batsmen throughout the series, and it was actually good to see, and it was probably more entertaining form of cricket. I know we've had some big scores this week, and Scotland plundered the Netherlands, but outside of that, last couple of games we've seen, although there has been some attractive strokes, the bowlers haven't been really plundered by maybe 1 or 2, but Neil, having conceded a few in his first over, much more circumspect, and this is second. It's a good length, nicely chopped down on by Singh.
Yeah, and I've no doubt that Vikram Singh will be just having a few nerves. 5 off 7 deliveries. T20 International, where the average run rate's been 9 or 10. It's a difficult breeding ground for a young 16-year-old.
Cries a catch. Well, that's gone up and over the infield, and is that going to run away for 4? No, it's not. It's cut off on the boundary by George Munsey. Munsey scored 127 the other day against the Netherlands and restricts that to 2. That ends the over. 5 gone, 39 for 1.
Yeah, that shot had a little bit of a shade of George Munsey in it as well. Looking to power the ball down the ground. Hasn't quite developed the strength yet to maybe clear the ropes, but gets back for a couple. And really like the look of this young cricketer. He's elegant, he looks composed, and he doesn't look overawed on his debut. And you have to give credit to the Dutch coach Ryan Campbell. He's made a brave choice. He's left out both Baresi and Myberg, who are 2 of his most experienced batsmen, 2 of his highest run getters. In fact, the 2 highest run getters in T20 international cricket. So he's looking towards the future, he's looking to the youth. And there's a 16-year-old at the crease at number 3.
Well, as we mentioned, the Netherlands, this is not their full squad for the T20 qualifiers in the UAE. Experienced players like Ryan ten Doeschate will come back in. Roelof van der Merwe, Tim van der Gugten also will be included in their squad. Scotland, that's going to be a wide down the leg side. Scotland, this is their squad, all bar Josh Davey. So as you say, Netherlands experimenting a little bit more, but giving youth its head. Scotland just trying to cement what they think will be their starting 11 for those qualifiers next month.
Yeah, the one other name that's going to come into that Dutch squad as well, John, is Colin Ackerman from Leicestershire, who set a world record this year, taking a 7-wicket haul for them in the T20 Blast. So 4 big names to come in.
That's scooped in the air. There is a fielder underneath it, and it's nicely taken. That's Neil underneath it, steepling ball. And he had to make a number of adjustments before he actually got under it. But Visay's gone. He tried that shot early on in the innings, didn't quite come off. That one, when he got bat on ball in the end, good catch.
Outstanding catch, and just as the ball was in the air, it didn't look as though Adrian Neil looked too comfortable underneath it. He had to rearrange his body, but he managed to get both hands to it, take a good diving catch to his left, and that's the end of Visay looking for the reverse scoop shot. And one really interesting point to that delivery, just as Ali Evans got into his gather, the white rag that he had out of the back of his Scotland shirt just fell onto the ground. I don't know if that in any way put Visay off, but the reverse scoop shot has proven the downfall of Tobias Visay, and it means it will bring the high scorer from yesterday, his career T20I best in that innings of 91, the big tall left-hander Ben Cooper, to the crease at number 4.
27-year-old Australian born, made his debut against Afghanistan in 2013. He's standing in his 40th T20 international today, approaching nearly 800 runs. 91 against Ireland. Hit the winning 6 off George Dockrell yesterday, indeed. Man of the match display from Ben Cooper. And the Dutch are amongst them now, or the Scots, I should say, amongst the Dutch, with the two openers gone. The young and inexperienced 16-year-old Singh been joined by the more experienced Ben Cooper. And if Scotland can rid of Cooper in particular, the big hitting Cooper from yesterday, well, they'll be definitely amongst them. Quick single, nicely taken as well. Singh just took off immediately and got to the non-striker's end quite comfortably.
Yeah, he doesn't look out of place there by any stretch of the imagination. Vikram Singh, 16 years of age, quick between the wickets. He's probably not going to quite have the power yet to clear the ropes with the reckless abandon that we've seen of some of the batting this week, but he's doing a good job rotating the strike. Brings Cooper on to face Ali Evans for the first time today.
It's the last over of the power play. Two fielders can only be outside the inner circle. Cooper straight away off the mark. Big tall man. Just a couple of strides to get down the 22 yards to the far end.
I was talking to Ben Cooper, interviewing him after his innings of 91 yesterday, and he was saying he really enjoys batting with Maxwell O'Dowd. So calm at the far end. And the thing that impressed me about their partnership yesterday, their partnership of over 140, was just how well they paced their innings. Even though they ended up needing 36 off the last 4, it never looked in doubt really, and they ended up getting over the line with 5 balls to spare. Just see a little niggle for Ali Evans. The Scottish physio is running onto the pitch. I wonder will he be able to complete his over here.
He's just had a shot there to your right hand side. Evans is with the physio. There he is. Just a little concern. He's halfway through this over, and having taken a wicket in this over, that's just a little concern is of his right shoulder. If you just joined us, the Netherlands, Peter Seeler, the captain, winning the toss today and deciding to bat, but both teams relatively happy with that particular toss because Kyle Kurtzer has said that he would have bowled anyway. It's the second meeting of the sides in this GS Holding T20I series game. Scotland hammering the Netherlands in the opening match. The Netherlands look all at sea in that game by 58 runs, but the Netherlands gathered themselves tremendously yesterday to beat Ireland by 6 wickets and put themselves joint top of the table with 6 points apiece. And Evans is definitely in trouble here. He's working that right shoulder, and there is concern for him.
Yeah, and that's the last thing that the Scottish coach Shane Berger will want any of his players, let alone one of the spearheads of his bowling attack. And you can see the physio working in. It's almost underneath the armpit of Alistair Evans, and he's had a good week with the ball for Scotland. This is not what you want. The lead up to such an important month next month. You can see he's trying to explain to the physio what happened. He thinks it was at the release of the delivery, and you'd have to think he's not going to be able to finish out his over here.
No, he's coming off the field to play. So somebody will have to finish his over. Kyle Kurtzer is now talking to the rest of his team about who is going to finish this over. And I think Safi Sharif is coming on as a replacement substitute. And Michael Leask will be the bowler to complete this over for the luckless Evans, who has departed. And the way things were out there, you would think that he may not play much more role in this Scotland bowling attack. Maybe come back later to bat, but he certainly looked in trouble.
Safian Sharif is going to come on and act as a subfielder for quite possibly the remainder of the innings, as you said, John. We wish Ali Evans well. Let's hope that it's nothing more than a niggle for the moment, but he's gone off for treatment. And his right arm seam will be replaced by Michael Leask. It's always a horrible job for a bowler to have to come on and just bowl 3 deliveries. There's been three balls gone in this over. We'll just get those graphics updated for you at the bottom of your screen now.
They've replaced the fast bowler with a spinner. Right arm off breaks, and immediately he gives away runs. Singh whips that one around the corner for 4 runs. Nicely placed.
Yeah, the first boundary for Vikram Singh in international cricket. It's a bit of a loosener really from Leask, short and wide outside the off stump, and he really is elegant, this left-hander. He loves to guide the ball, and it's been really impressive as to how he's found the gaps on the offside.
It's been a decent power play though for Scotland so far. Again, the similar kind of shots and good stop, diving stop as well by Ollie Hers. Just the single.
Yeah, Leask just bowls orthodox off breaks. No huge variety or variation in them. Doesn't have any mystery to his spin, and that's what we've been lacking this week.
And so he just bowls 3 deliveries, Michael Leask, the end of the 6th over. And the Netherlands have advanced. The scoreboard, unfortunately, in front of you is wrong. They're 47 for 2.
From the Malahide Castle End, wearing shirt number 90 is Tom Sowell.
Well, we will be fixing those graphics for you, but I can tell you it is 47 for 2. 2 out. Tobias Fise for 27. Max O'Dowd out for 1. Vikram Singh is there on 13, joined by Ben Cooper. And we're going to change the bowling now at the Malahide Castle End. And for the first time today, and the first time in the series, we're going to see 23-year-old Tom Sowell and his right arm off breaks. Just behind square on the offside. They should come back for a comfortable 2.
Again, that's clever batting from Vikram Singh. He's not just manipulated the ball into the space, but he's done it at a pace where he knows he can get back for 2. Really good, clever touch from the 16-year-old.
Down on one knee. That should be caught. And he's gone. Comfortable catch from Colin McLeod. Out on the boundary ropes. Much bigger boundary out there compared to the other side of the ground because they've moved things in. So, as you mentioned earlier on, just didn't quite have the power to clear the ropes there, and a comfortable catch in the end. And the Netherlands now just in a little bit of bother at 49 for 3.
It's ended up proving his downfall. He's tried to hit into the wind to the larger side of the ground with 3 men on the leg side. He'd be disappointed with that. He falls for 15 from 13 deliveries, and an innings that showed a lot of promise is going to fall short. It's a slow, long walk off. He'll be replaced by the Dutch captain, Peter Seelaar. But plenty of promise for the 16-year-old. He's off the mark in international cricket. 1 boundary to his name, that boundary for 15 for Singh.
Peter Seelaar winning the toss today, deciding to bat. 32 years of age, appointed as captain to the national side following the retirement of Peter Boren. Made his debut back in 2008 in the World T20 qualifiers against Kenya in a match played here in Dublin. Plenty of experience at this level. 54th T20, has the highest score of 96. That was actually against the Scots. 1 for 27 against Ireland. And indeed part of that team, that historic team that beat England in the opening match of the 2009 tournament at Lord's in the T20 World Cup, of which Ireland qualified as well. Good stop by Tahir. Short fine leg. I'll just give you a score update because you don't have the graphics on screen at the moment. 49 for 3 now. Men out, if you say, for 27. O'Dowd's gone for 1. Singh gone for 15 off 13 deliveries. And another good stop as well. That short, fine leg by Tahir. And the Dutch just getting a little bogged down now in the 7th over. And lost of 3 wickets as well. So it's a bit of a rebuilding now for Ben Cooper and Peter Seelar. Much flatter delivery this time, and he can't pierce the infield, Seelar. It's a good first over from Sol. He's got a wicket. And the young man, 16 years of age, Vikram Singh, caught in the deep by McLeod. And this time it's whipped through the leg side for just a single, though. And that'll bring up the half century, but the Scots will be well pleased the way things have gone. 7 down now, 50 for 3.
Yeah, it's the 50 up at the end of 7 overs for the Netherlands. Remember, they won the toss this afternoon and decided to bat first. Looks like another very good wicket, so perhaps they're a little bit behind the 8 ball at the moment, going at just 7 and over. And I think, John, we might have our first change of the afternoon, as I'll bid you a short adieu. And I'm delighted to welcome in our guest commentator. And that guest commentator who's going to come and sit to my left and join me through the middle overs of the match is a man with a smile on his face at the moment, because Shane Berger, the Scotland head coach, you're very welcome. And you must be pleased with the start to the game today so far.
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks for having me on air, actually. It's probably quite bizarre that you get to sit here and commentate while your team's playing. So it's quite a unique experience, I think. Yep, smile on my face. I think we've been pretty good. I think we've been pretty good in the first 6 overs. Guys have committed to the game plans, and it's a lovely day out in Malahide.
Yeah, we've brought the sunshine, the Indian summer for you at the end of the year here. Tell us a bit about what you've taken from this week. It looks to me like you've got a young, dynamic athletic side. They've fielded really well. What else have you taken away from it?
I think I've taken away that we've picked quite a dynamic sort of squad in terms of, we believe we could bring any of the 15 into the playing 11 at any point and know that they're going to make an impact on the game. I suppose for me as a coach and the selectors, there are going to be a couple of selection headaches, which is you rather have it that way than the other way. And I think that's credit to what the organisation has done over the last few years, just in terms of getting the depth a little bit stronger.
Yeah, we've got Hamza Tahir operating around the wicket to the left-handed Ben Cooper, and just punched into the leg side for a single. We seem to go with a lot of spinners today, and good to see Tom Sol come in and get a wicket in his first over.
Yeah, Soli's been really good. Soli's been really good. You know, he's come into the side, missed out the first 2 games, and then now he gets his opportunity to really come in and show what he's all about. You know, also another dynamic cricketer, 3-in-1 player, can hit the ball out the park. But we just saw in that first over the sort of quality he can bring. Also don't underestimate how important it is for him. He's had a bit of blast cricket this year, so he's had a bit of experience in the English county setup too.
Beautifully bowled, big appeal from Matthew Cross behind the stumps and given straight away, deceived through the air. Struggling to keep the smile off Shane Berger's face to my left, the Scotland head coach. That's a beautiful delivery. Turn, he's done Seelar on the flight. Little bit of drift, little bit of dip. And Matthew Cross, with the quality of his glove work behind the stumps, that was always out. Beautiful bowling.
Fantastic stumping by Crossy behind the stumps. I tell you what, the surprise package of the year for me so far has been Hamza Tahir, the man with the ball in his hand at the moment. He went across to Aberdeen in our first round of Cricket World League 2. You know, he got 10 wickets. And now he's really sort of stamped his mark in this T20 side too. Really excited to see what the future holds for him.
Yeah, he took 10 wickets in just 3 ODIs. And tell us a bit about that Cricket World Cup League 2. You're going to have 36 ODIs over 2.5 years. It was a disastrous start. You lost to Oman. Was that your first game in charge?
No, we had the May ODIs versus Afghanistan and Sri Lanka, so they just thought they'd throw me in quietly into the international scene. And unfortunately, those were quite interrupted by rain. But no, Oman played really well in that first game. They caught us really, really cold. I would have thought. You know, a few of our guys came back from the T20 Canada League, and we assembled relatively late. And you know, it just shows you that if you're not on, you're not in your best performance, another team's going to put you away.
And you bounced back really well to beat Papua New Guinea twice and Oman once. So you're currently top of the table in the Cricket World Cup League 2 structure.
I think that was the impressive thing for me, is the way the team bounced back after that first defeat. I think it shows a lot of character for the guys to come back and play the sort of cricket that we know we could play. We had to jig the sort of the team around a little bit according to the wicket that was presented there, and I think we did that pretty well in terms of getting a lot of spin in. And the spinners did really well, the guys that came in, and I think the batters adapted really well to the Aberdeen conditions too. So that's something we've spoken about quite a lot within the setup too.
Beautifully bowled again, just drifting on with the arm outside Ben Cooper's off stump. That is 8 overs gone, the score 55 for 4. We are just getting those graphics back up for you in the coming moments at the bottom of the screen. Shane, you're from South Africa originally. Tell us about how you came into this role. You saw it advertised you were working with one of the first-class provinces down in South Africa. Delighted to come into international cricket, I'd say.
Delighted to be in the international scene. I think, I finished my playing career in South Africa, and I was very fortunate to get straight into coaching. And then I had 3-4 really good seasons with KZN Inland, which is a first-class team in South Africa. And obviously there was something that Scottish cricket might have liked in terms of a young coach and what I could bring to the system, and I was just thrilled when I got the opportunity to come over and get into international cricket really soon in my career.
Yeah, another great to see a South African come up to Scotland and take over the role. You took over from Grant Bradburn, who did a fantastic job. Probably will live in Scottish history with that famous win over England in the ODI last year. See the off breaks continuing. The new man to the crease is young Baz de Leede. He's just 19 years of age, and just getting those graphics back up, you can see now 55 for 4 after 8 overs. Have you been surprised by the high scores this week? The pitches have played really well.
Yes and no. I think in terms of where world cricket is at the moment, I think T20 cricket in general is very high scoring. I think the wicket has been a really good one. It promotes, high-scoring games, smallish fields, and we know with the bats that these guys play with nowadays, you can Munzi showed on that first day, miss-hitting 80-metre sixes. So it's an exciting time to be involved in cricket.
Yeah, that innings from George Munzi, 127 not out. Such an exciting player, big appeal given. That finds the outside edge of Ben Cooper's bat. He's distraught. The man who made 91 yesterday has to go. And Shane Berger's stint in the commentary box is bringing about wickets aplenty. I've got the Scotland head coach to my left here. And Scotland are right on top. Netherlands fall further to 56 for 5. It was flatter from Seoul. Skidded on. Maybe a little bit of turn as well, Shane. And how good is Matthew Cross with the gloves?
Well, again, Crossy just shows his value with the gloves in hand. He's had a superb game so far. I tell you what, Andrew, I wouldn't mind sitting here all the time if this is the way the boys are going to play while I'm in the commentary box. Maybe that's the way forward.
Yeah, absolutely. We're hearing the thoughts of the Scotland head coach with me, Andrew Leonard, here today. And let's look forward a little bit. The T20 World Cup qualifier you have coming up. You're actually going to be in Netherlands group. You must be excited about that. 27 games. I think it's going to be live on television right around the world. But surely you're going to have to make sure you get one of those 6 qualifying places and get on the plane to Australia for 2020.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy. I think obviously the end goal is to get into that World Cup, but we certainly know that there's a lot of obstacles ahead of us. We're under no illusions that we're going to have to go to that tournament and play our best cricket. We've obviously set a goal of wanting to win that tournament, and I think every other team has probably set the same goal. So we're going to have to play some really good cricket. But I'm enjoying, I think peaking at the right time is going to be important in that tournament. We've got a pre-tournament trip we're going to South Africa. And I think after this tournament, which has been brilliant to have for the lads to play a lot of cricket, going to South Africa and then going into the Dubai tournament with a lot of cricket under our belt is going to really, leave us in a good place.
Yeah, the new man to the crease for the Netherlands is Scott Edwards. He's in at number 7, and perhaps we might see the first low score of the week because we've had nothing but high-scoring run fest so far. Netherlands 56 for 5 in the 9th over. They're struggling. Scott Edwards is away. He'll get away with at least a single. They won't come back for 2. So tell us about that trip. You're going to fly down to South Africa prior to going to the UAE.
We're going to go down to Durban and we're going to play a couple of games against the Dolphins franchise in Durban where Kevin Peterson used to play his cricket. And actually we've got another South African that's joined the coaching staff in in a fellow very good friend of mine, Grant Morgan, who's come on aboard, and he was the previous coach of the Dolphins. And we just thought it would be really good to get the boys into a different environment, hopefully some similar sort of weather to what we might face in Dubai, similar sort of wickets and some different opposition. You know, we want to keep challenging the guys to raise their game to whoever they might be playing.
How do you go about preparing for the T20 World Cup qualifiers? Obviously, you know this Dutch side very well, but you'll also come up against the challenge of Papua New Guinea, who you beat twice in the ODI format last month, but also Namibia, Singapore, Kenya, and that Bermuda side who surprised USA in the Americas qualifier. You can have Delray, Rawlins, and some really good hitters of the ball to come up against Bermuda.
Andrew, the easy thing is to dismiss one of those teams or two or three of those sides even. You know, the one thing I've realized coming into this job is you can never take any of those teams lightly. And I think they've got, you know, a lot of those teams will have some really good players in them, a lot of game changers. And like I said a couple of minutes ago, we're going to have to be on top of our game if we want to go to that tournament and progress through.
Yeah, Scotland will be in Group A, whereas the host side, Ireland, will be in Group B. 6 sides of the 14 will qualify. And it's a really good tournament. It was actually hosted by Ireland and Scotland 4 years ago. And the 2 sides you're watching on your screen today, they shared the title, Scotland and the Netherlands. But right now it is Scotland on top. And we have the Scotland head coach to our left here. And you must be a happy man with the way your team are performing.
Yeah, really happy. I think a good test for us now is how we actually take the score from 58 to 5, and can we be ruthless enough to really put the game away? That's something we've spoken quite a lot on in the last few days. So I'm really enjoying at the moment where we are, where we position, but you know there's still a lot of time left in the game.
Yeah, we're seeing one of the rarer things for Scottish cricket. We're seeing Callum McLeod back to his roots. He's bowling here. He's bowling his off breaks from the Dublin Road end. Big appeal. Probably just sliding down. There is some turn on offer for McLeod. This is something you saw a little bit in the inter-squad practice games that you had. Callum McLeod bowled a few overs.
Well, there's no doubt Cloudy's been in Kutz's ear to get on and have a bowl. And you know what, I'm all for that. I think in the T20 format, the more you can change it up and be just that little bit different, just makes it that much harder for batters to line you up.
And you can hear the buzz in the field from the Scotland team, really enjoying this part-time off-spin of Callum McLeod. He started with 4 dots. Get away, quick single to Hamza Tahir, half an appeal. Look at Matthew Cross's glove work, absolutely outstanding, taking the ball in front of the stumps. How much did you know about Scottish cricket before you took the job?
Not very much, if I'm completely honest. I think Scotland cricket was really put on the map by that victory against England. I think the world stood up and realised that there was potentially something special happening with Scotland. You know, now that I've been in the job for 6 months, or just over that now, it's given me the opportunity to see what fantastic work the organisation has done, what magnificent talent we have within our structures. And, you know, it's my job and the rest of the coaching staff's job now just to make sure we nurture that talent. And potentially, you know, for me, it would be really nice to see if we could produce a world-class player and a world-class team. I think that's the goal.
Just clipped into the leg side. There's going to be plenty of time for a single, but no time for 2 because Soul is quick in off the fence. That's the halfway stage of the innings. The Dutch going exactly a run a ball. They're 60 for 5. Halfway stage of the innings, Netherlands 60 for 5 after 10. I'm here with Shane Berger, the Scotland head coach, and it's fascinating to hear his thoughts right in the middle of the game. And his side at the moment are right on top. They have the Netherlands in trouble. We were just talking about that famous win that Scotland had over England in the ODI last year at the Grange. I suppose it wasn't just the fact they beat them, but it was the way they beat them. They beat the #1 side in the world at their own game.
Well, I think you've hit the nail on the head, Andrew. I think it was more in the sort of brand of cricket that was played. You know, almost, if you want to almost say, doing them at their own game kind of thing. And now, if you look back, they're the world champions. And to say that we've won a cricket game against them and played the sort of brand of cricket that they've played is really exciting. And it just goes to show, I think every single player in that team on that day realised that there is something special brewing.
Richie Berrington back into the attack with his medium pacers, the all-rounder. Yeah, over 700 runs were scored that day. It wasn't like it was a green top and you rolled them for 140 having won a good toss. You batted first, they got 370, and then that famous moment where Safian Sharif, I think it was Mark Woody, hit in the toe to spark jubilant scenes of celebration for the Scots all over the world. And you have to say, for Scotland, it had been coming. And how did you introduce yourself to the group? They must have been huge disappointment missing out on the Cricket World Cup in 2019 in the fashion that they did. How did you deal with that as the head coach?
Well, I think we actually we spoke a little bit about it, and we're using that as motivation to make sure that that potentially doesn't happen to us again. I think one thing it does teach you in this game is that it's a game of very fine margins. We've tended to be on the other side of those really close games, so we've got to make sure as a unit that we find a way to make sure that we turn it around, and that was bitterly disappointing for the lads, but I truly believe that they've used it in a positive way.
Yeah, Scotland missed out on the 2019 World Cup by the very finest of margins, losing on Duckworth Lewis Stern to the West Indies in really unfortunate circumstances in Zimbabwe, after looking like they were set to book their tickets on the plane, or on the coach perhaps, down the border. Just missed a superb stop from Kyle Coetzer at extra cover into the veteran stage of his career, but showing he can still do it in the field as well.
The evergreen Kyle Coetzer, I think he's getting younger. I spoke to him the other day.